Crypto and blockchain is going to become like that for the internet. So it will be something that we all use every single day. We might not think about it as crypto, and we might not even know that it's blockchain under the hood, but it will be how we manage our money, how we move assets around. It will probably be how we think about our identity and how we share data with different people.
Hello, I'm Lorena Nesi for CCN. Jess Houlgrave is the CEO of Reown, the company formerly known as WalletConnect. With a background that spans traditional finance and blockchain infrastructure, she's now leading one of the most focused pushes to fix one of crypto's core issues, usability. Jess, thanks for being with us and welcome to CCN.
It's really nice to be with you. Thank you very much for having me. So when we think about user experience, I often talk both internally and externally about this chasm that we have. And that chasm is the chasm between what users expect, what they're used to in Web 2, and what we can deliver to them in Web 3. In reality, in Web 2 today, we actually have amazing user experience across most aspects of our lives. Billions and billions of dollars has been spent understanding user behavior, optimizing how many clicks we do when we log into an application, making it so that I literally just need to tap my phone and automatically a payment takes place. I don't even need to think about it. I even actually the other day got a ring which has NFC payments in it. So I don't even need my phone anymore. I can touch my ring to the contactless card reader. A payment is made. It shows up really seamlessly in my neobanking app to tell me what it is that I bought, where I bought it, how much I spent. We are just used to great seamless experiences. We don't have to think about them. And there is a big gap between that and what we see in Web 3 today. In Web 3, this is a very new technology. It's been around now for 15 years, but in the big scheme of things, that's still very early days. And we haven't invested enough time and resources to make that user experience gap close. We have for too long expected users to download wallets, experience with their seed phrases, store 24 words under their mattress to keep their funds secure, to know what gas is in order to send a payment. They have to know what chain their asset is on. No good having USDC on Base if the merchant wants USDC on Solana. How was an end user supposed to know these things? And so partly because of just the amount of resources that we've invested, partly because these are actually really complex technological challenges to solve, we have this big chasm today between Web 2 user experience and Web 3 user experience. Now, that chasm is closing rapidly. I think great new wallets, for example, will do chain abstraction. You don't need to know where your USDC is. We have new ways of working with, and we do this at Reown, we have some options that payments companies can sponsor transactions so that the end user doesn't need to know what gas is, for example. Smart accounts make different kinds of payments, like recurring payments, possible. But these are all really new innovations. And so I think that we're closing that gap. That's going to drive more demand for crypto payments, but it's still pretty early days and we have a lot of challenges still to solve.
At what point do you think simplifying UX risks recreating the same control structure Web3 was meant to avoid?
So one of the things at Reown is that we built, the first major product that we built as a company is the WalletConnect network. What that allows is seamless and interoperable communications between any wallet and any application. So that was one big user experience challenge that we faced, which was that only certain wallets would work with certain apps. Only certain merchants could accept funds from certain wallets. If you're building a shop, you don't want to say, oh, I only want to accept £10 notes, but not £5 notes. Or I only want to accept Visa cards, but not MasterCards. You want to have that open and you want to be able to accept as many customers as possible. So one of the things that we did at Reown by building the WalletConnect network is enable this very seamless interoperability. It means that you can use any wallet anywhere. And I think that's been a big contribution to the adoption of crypto. Another thing that we've been working on, as I said, is some of these new transaction types. For example, enabling recurring payments. This is very early days. We haven't seen that at scale yet, but we're starting to see interest in that really pick up with some of our customers. So what we have tried to do is really focus on some of these big issues that we know affect user experience. And by building better standards and working with all of the wallets on the WalletConnect network, that's about 700 different wallets today, and with all of the applications, which is about 60,000 different applications, we can bring all of these ecosystem participants online to create these better user experiences.
And how do you see AI changing how users experience and interact with crypto?
When I think about blockchain as a technology, I believe, and I have believed for a really long time, that one day it will underpin almost all of our interactions. In the same way that 25 years ago, we talked about internet companies and some people were building an internet company. Today, every single company in the world touches the internet in some way, whether that's just for their banking, whether that's for their social media, whether that's because they're an e-commerce store. Every company thinks about the internet. It's a core piece of technology that they use to enable their business. And billions of people around the world are connected to the internet. Crypto and blockchain is going to become like that for the internet. So it will be something that we all use every single day. We might not think about it as crypto, and we might not even know that it's blockchain under the hood, but it will be how we manage our money, how we move assets around. It will probably be how we think about our identity and how we share data with different people. Crypto and blockchain is going to become like that for the internet. So it will be something that we all use every single day. We might not think about it as crypto, and we might not even know that it's blockchain under the hood, but it will be how we manage our money, how we move assets around. It will probably be how we think about our identity and how we share data with different people. It will be how we log into different applications. It will probably be where our car registration or where our land registration is stored, because ultimately what it is a really efficient and effective piece of technology. If you believe in that world, that blockchain is going to be everywhere, what you want is to enable interoperability. You don't want these silos to be built where only certain people can do certain things in certain places. We have silos in the Web 2 world because of the way that businesses are built, because of regulation, because we haven't had this ability historically to have these shared ledgers and these shared ecosystems in an effective way. We now have that tooling. And so our mission really at WalletConnect and at Reown is to build that connectivity layer. The dream is that anyone with any wallet can use that anywhere on any chain without needing to understand what crypto is beneath the hood. And when we can do that, people will be able to get all the benefits of this technology without the user experience friction that they have today.
Reown has tokens of different kinds, and they have been very successful. Regarding their use, how will you make governance meaningful? Let's say meaningful and not just symbolic.
There is a constant dilemma, I think, of building in a walled garden way, which allows you to move really fast, and building in an open and interoperable way that means everything and everyone can work together. This latter path is much slower. It's often more painful because you have to build consensus. You have to bring everybody along that journey with you, get people bought in. I think it's the right path in terms of this adoption and in terms of this technology over the long run, which is one of the reasons that as a company, we are so focused on standards. Everything that we build is open source. We bring partners to all of our development cycles so that we have input from wallets, we have inputs from apps in order to build things in a way that really suits the ecosystem at large. We have the WalletConnect Council that is made up of experts, technology experts from payments companies, applications, wallets, custodians, the whole ecosystem, so that they can also input in the technological direction that we're taking. This means that we maybe move a little bit slower. If we could just decide things and push them out, maybe things would move faster. But I think for the good of the industry, having everybody agree on these shared standards is what ensures that things are actually interoperable, that people can really use their assets wherever they want to be able to use their assets, and they can benefit from the core pieces of Web3 around interoperability, choice, control. The sacrifice that we make if we try and go faster and build in a walled garden is that we don't get some of those benefits. Users are constrained to a particular environment. They're unable to move their assets into different wallets, or they're unable to interact with the things that they want to be able to interact with. So it's a choice as a company as to like, do we optimize for speed, but end up sacrificing on the core principles of openness and decentralization? Or do we try to build using these open standards? And I think that the latter is really what's going to pay off for the industry and hopefully for society as a whole. We use it a lot as a company. So internally, we build a lot of tooling using AI, and every team member is encouraged to use AI every day to make their jobs easier and to make themselves more effective. We also think a lot about AI in terms of how the developer experience works. We've seen an increasing amount of traffic coming from LLMs, people signing up and becoming customers as a result of an LLM, whereas historically they might have used Google search, for example. And so we are seeing the developer journey change as a result of AI. And what we've been trying to do is make sure that our tools are really understandable for AI so that people, when they're building crypto applications, can use the Reown SDKs really easily when they're coding with AI as well. So certainly as a company, we think about AI from an external perspective and an internal perspective. And then in the broader crypto market, I think AI is having an impact. The combination of an AI agent with a crypto wallet is really powerful. Having an agent that I can just instruct to do things, to spend on my behalf, give them control over a wallet so that they can take actions. I think is a really interesting one. And we've got lots of customers who are in that space and who are pairing AI with wallet technology in order to create whole new user experiences that we haven't even seen before.
If you could change one crypto regulation today in the US or UK or anywhere in the world, what would it be and why?
I think that the answer is honestly that I would love for them to be more aligned. One of the challenges with building in crypto is that we aren't building for just one geographic region. At WalletConnect, we have developers, wallet developers, and app developers all over the world. We have over 50 million end users who use the network. They come from all over the world, and each of them is subject to different regulations. So I think my dream, if we could solve it, would be to have more aligned regulation globally. This would allow us to move faster because we wouldn't have to do country by country evaluation to make sure that we were within the regulatory guidelines. Definitely with most of the products that we build, WalletConnect Network is a communications network and technology. It doesn't sit in the flow of funds of crypto. We don't ever custody user assets, for example, and the tooling that we build is developer oriented. So for the most part, what we do is not a regulated activity. But I think that the lack of clarity of regulation around the world often slows down the adoption of crypto. And so I would love to see more aligned regulation and especially more clarity. I think the US, the Genius Act and recent developments on the stablecoin side have been very positive, and I'd love to see those replicated elsewhere in the world, because I think when we really unlock the power of stablecoins, we're going to solve so many inefficiencies in our current payment systems, and we can pass the benefits of that on to end users. So the WalletConnect network, which is the piece of our technology that enables the interactions between an app and a wallet, is a decentralized network. It's now run by about 22 different node operators. These are partners from different wallets, different corporations around the world who provide the infrastructure to keep the network running and secure. It's our long-term goal that that continues to grow and that the network continues down this path of decentralization. It's what means the network can one day be fully censorship resistant. In a world where Reown as a company doesn't exist, the WalletConnect network will persist and the service that it offers to the world will continue to be there. Now, what you need as part of these decentralized networks is a way to govern and incentivize participants in that ecosystem. And the WalletConnect token is the token that does this for the WalletConnect network. So it's a token that we launched last year. All of the different ecosystem partners hold that token. This is what enables them to vote and to participate in governance decisions, whether those are around the technical upgrades of the network or how the treasury should be spent, for example, how we invest in the network. And it's also the token that is used to reward people who are providing infrastructure to the network as node operators. We use it to reward wallets for providing people to the network, for bringing users into the network so that apps can benefit from it. And so it's really the kind of economic unit of account that means that the WalletConnect network can continue to grow and that all of the ecosystem participants have a stake in the network and are able to participate in the governance of the network.
Your new report shows payment usage is up across the board, which is great news. What number of trends surprised you the most?
Firstly, I'm really excited to see the numbers going up, not just because that's what we're building, but I come from a payments background. Before I was at WalletConnect, I was at a payments company where I did a little bit of work on crypto, and I've always believed that this is a really interesting technology and an instrument for payments technology. Probably not super surprising to everybody will be that where we're seeing a lot of payments adoption is outside of the most developed financial markets. So seeing adoption of stablecoin payments in Africa, in Latin America, in other places around the world is that's where we're seeing the highest growth at the moment. That makes sense. Where you have good existing infrastructure, there's maybe less demand for something new, where the cost and the friction of payments infrastructure is incredibly high today. It makes sense that this technology can be used to kind of leapfrog other places. I think what was interesting to me also was the number of people who said that they really wanted to pay with crypto, but also comparing that to the number of people who actually pay with crypto. And it's clear that there's real demand for people to want to be able to pay with crypto. I would love to be able to do that in a really easy way, for example. I don't very often, so I probably fall into that same category where I'd like to be able to do it, don't do it very often, and I don't do it because the user experience is still poor. So in some ways, it really confirms a lot of our theses, which is that this technology has a lot of potential, but today is very hard to use. And so I think that as we start to unlock some of that, start to solve some of these problems, we should see those numbers reports shared by some of our partners around B2B payments, around treasury, around how companies are thinking about this, how end users and merchants are thinking about this in terms of unlocking new user groups, making cross-border payments more accessible. So it's been great to see and read and learn from those partners as well.
Stablecoins and payments now rank above DeFi and staking in user priorities. What does that shift tell us about where crypto is really going?
I think what it tells us is that there are a lot of use cases for crypto that are still in the very, very nascent stages. Until now, I think when people have been using crypto, it's because they're actually interested in crypto itself. They want to trade crypto. They want to participate in a DeFi pool to earn things. They want to do things. And a lot of those users have been very willing to undergo some of those pain points. I'm an early crypto adopter. I've been willing to deal with complicated wallet setups in order to access some of those tools. I think what this trend is telling us is that there is a real place for crypto and stablecoins in the wider world and the wider financial services space. Those users are probably not as willing to undergo the friction points that those early crypto users do. What it means is that there's tons and tons and tons of users who are right on the precipice of being crypto users. And in order to really deliver for them, what we need to do is take away some of these complexities so that it's really easy, so that they can get the benefits of crypto and of moving money around the world very cheaply and easily without compromising on the user experience. So for us, it's very exciting. Whilst we've done a lot of work in the DeFi space historically, increasingly, we also have a very strong offering for the payments ecosystem. We work with a lot of payment service providers. We also work directly with some merchants, for example. We have solutions for travel rule compliance, payments compliance messaging. Anywhere where a company is interacting with self-custodial wallets is somewhere that WalletConnect can really support on. So for us, it's really exciting because what we're seeing then is just wider adoption of crypto, greater usage of the WalletConnect network, and also the ability to innovate there. I think some of the standards that crypto payments use today can evolve a lot more to create better user experiences. And I think that's something that we're going to focus a lot on over the next 12 months.
Users move small payments to chains like Polygon and Base, while Ethereum handles large transfers. Is Ethereum losing its role in real-world commerce, according to your report or your view?
When I try and diagnose and see what's behind that, I think there are a few things at play. So number one is that what you want when you're making a very cheap, fast payment is something that is cheap and fast. What I don't want to do is buy my coffee for $1.60 and have to pay 20 cents in fees and wait for 10 minutes for the transaction to confirm before I can actually get my coffee. Doesn't make any sense for me. However, if I, for example, I'm holding a lot of Ethereum or a lot of Bitcoin and I want to make a very high value transaction, it makes more sense for me to try and pay with that as a currency, especially for, something where I'm not getting the goods and services immediately. If I'm buying a house, for example, I don't need that transaction to be confirmed in less than a second. It's probably okay for it to take 10 minutes, given that it would take, 3 or 4 days with a wire transfer today. So I think in the same way that today in Web 2, we use different payment methods for different things, we will use different chains and different assets for different things in Web 3. I use my credit card and Apple Pay for some things, but I use wire transfers for another. I'm going to use high speed, high throughput, cheap chains for some things, but I'm going to use these highly secure, highly trusted chains for high value transactions. And I think that's going to continue. So overall, I think what that tells us, though, is that for end users needing to think about which chain and which asset they're on is complicated. Merchants also don't want to be holding assets across all different types of chains, because for them as a business, that's complicated. So in the middle of those two, how do we simplify the process so that the user can pay with what they want to pay and the merchant can receive what they want to receive? And I think that's where that space in the middle has a lot of scope for innovation over the coming years to make it really easy for people accepting payments and for people paying.
Thank you, Jess. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think that the most important thing is that we get lots of feedback on what's working well and what's not. I really encourage us all as people who are passionate about crypto, as people who want crypto to succeed, to go there and try, to talk to people, to talk to your local coffee shop about why they are or aren't accepting crypto, to try and pay for things with crypto. One of my team is very well known internally because he always tips a taxi driver with crypto. He sends them crypto via a link to try and onboard them into this space. And it's only really by talking about it, by asking people to accept crypto for payments, for example, that we really start to spin this flywheel of adoption. And so if people are building and they want to chat about creating better user experiences, please reach out to us. It's an area that we love to innovate on. So we'd be super happy to hear from people too.
Thank you so much, Jess. That was Jess Houlgrave, CEO of Reown, speaking with us at CCN about where crypto payments, UX, and decentralization are headed next. I'm Lorena Nessi. Thanks for watching.